Yes, it is. And that's, um, it's been sort of, has been an eye-opening thing for me, um, being a behavioral health professional for as many years as I have, um, seeing what I have seen at the different places that I have been with, and blessed to be a part of. Those situations in my professional life have had a great impact on my own parenting, because it allowed me to have real conversations about things that other kids were experiencing that my kids didn't. But um, how can we learn to take those experiences and to teach them to our kids so that they know how they can respond to somebody else who may be going through something, that they're not.
Right.
So that's been a tremendous help. My professional life has been pretty amazing, and then being at home as many years as I have also been at home, being blessed to be able to stay home and take care of my kids, while my husband worked, and I equally have, um, very much respect for both aspects of those parts of my life and what they've allowed me to do for my kids.
Absolutely, because I mean that's work too. You know, a lot of people, discredit people being home. I know when my daughter was a baby, she had some respiratory problems and she could not go to daycare for almost 2 years. So
Mm-hmm.
I stayed home as much as I could until I had a aunt who stepped in and said, "Hey, I'll keep her all day," But she was the
Right.
one that she
Right.
kept. But during that year, I had to stay home because, I mean, and it's a lot of work because I still had uh, another kid I had to get to school every day, you know.
Right.
And and
Yeah.
at the time, my husband at the time, he had to go to work, he go to school. We all had to have our
Mm-hmm.
routine. Um, but like you said, the important thing is being able to instill certain things in these children. I know, but the good thing is the children are definitely aware that other people are going
Yeah.
through things that they're not,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Mm-hmm.
recognize them and they come home and they talk about it. I know my son, my youngest son, he was, talking about these girls he went to school with, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them was kind of wild and living, in a group home.
Mm-hmm.
When he told me that, I said, "Oh, okay, really?" I didn't say anything because at the time I was a CPS worker and I couldn't, you know, I couldn't elaborate on it the way I needed to. But I said,
Right.
I don't think that's a good idea right now, because people, and I was big on, let me make myself 100% clear. I did not allow my children to date at all until they were 17,
Mm-hmm.
almost
Mm-hmm.
18. And it's because
Yes.
me personally, I do not think it's cute that they be all hugged up with different people,
Oh my
hugged
goodness.
up with this
Uh-huh.
person and hugged up
Absolutely.
with that person. And even my boys,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Don't be hugging up with people, because, and I guess that's out of my own experience because growing up, everything was so romanticized,
Oh
you know,
my gosh.
and,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
yeah, and
That is
so,
not real life.
no, it's not. And so I wanted mine to grow up and be able to be well rounded and be focused on other things like going. Now they could hang in crowds, and yeah, girls and boys
Mm-hmm.
could be at my house, but it was never
Mm-hmm.
anything, And my one son, he kills me. They all were part of a little group. I called them the Rat Pack. They went to each other's proms, junior prom, senior prom.
Yeah.
They switched the whole group he was with. They switched up the girls, and I liked that because it was, it wasn't like romantic. It was just fun.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's what we need to discourage. That it's not cute.
Right. Right. Well, and growing up, for me, my mother was a single parent, and not having a father around played a big role on the relationships with, when I was in school and dating and what that relationship looked like. And so I looked for a lot of things in the wrong places. Right. And, you go back to that whole looking for love in all the wrong places, and that was me, because it's not what I got. I didn't get what I needed from a father to teach me what it was that I should be looking for and what I was worth and how I was valued. And so writing this piece made me really, really come to terms with that, because I went back and thinking about, and like I said, raising boys is different. You have to look at things through a different scope. And I knew that I was not going to allow my daughter, and my daughters, because now, my youngest is 10 now, but I was not going to, and still am not going to allow them to have to experience those things without the conversations that are necessary to put in place first. Absolutely. Now Alexis is 18 now. We've built a really good foundation with her, and this is one of the things that I wrote about, is that what my daughter needs is not another friend. She needs a parent.
Right.
And God gave her to me and entrusted her to me to teach her the things that she needs to, and to instill in her the word and who she is and who loves her the most, more than anybody. And so that way she doesn't go out looking for those things. Now, my husband has had an amazing part in that, because he has shown her what she should be looking for. And I'm really grateful that there hasn't been a whole lot of dating for her at all. She's been truly focused on all the things that God has put into her life for her. And she's not the kid that says, I know what you're telling me, but I need to try it on my own anyway. She's the kid who actually says, oh, wait, you did this and this is what happened? Okay, I'm not going to do that. Right. Like, she's not that kid who needs to experience it herself, like a lot of kids, unfortunately, are. I was that kid.
I was
well, just because that happened to you doesn't mean it's going to happen to me.
Yeah,
right. And so thank God she's not. And she listens and she really pays attention. And I know that has a lot to do with the things that we have talked about over the years, and the relationship that I have with her, which is so, so special. I'm in awe of who she is. Honestly, in awe of her, because she's such an amazing young woman, and all of my children are amazing. I'm just, as a young woman, coming up against all the things that she's had to see, just school and peer pressure and all of that stuff. I'm completely amazed at the growth in her and who she is as a person. Very, very, very blessed.
And right, and this is the reason why you're part of this anthology, because raising children is not easy, like you said, coming up against the things that they have to come up against. And I do process groups with children a lot, and we have this card game called Consequences that we play. And it has questions about kind of like a what would you do, and it talks about things that a lot of it is how would you respond. would you defy your parents and lie and this and that? And you would be surprised. Like one of the questions was, would you allow your parents to search your room? And I try to be as objective as possible, understanding where they're coming from. Like, no, they can't go in my room. And then I say, okay, if I can't go in your room, you can't go in the refrigerator.
Well, and yes, and that's really one of the things that I've seen working in the behavioral health field, and one of the things that I have applied to my own children is that, listen, I don't care. Like the art of respect has gone so far out the window, and there are so many kids these days who feel like as even like with authority figures, adults in general, if you don't respect me, I'm not going to respect you. And I don't play that game. And that's not what I teach my children, because I don't care. You will respect adults, period. Right. And if I hear otherwise, you and I are going to have a problem. Like, right. This is how I was raised. I would never have cussed in front of my friend's parents. Are you kidding me?
Never.
I would have never cussed in front of an adult.
Never.
And some of the stuff I see today, I'm just like, oh my gosh, what happened? Where did we go? How did we get off track? And praying for these kids became such a heavy thing for me, because I had to sit and pray with my daughter through situations that were happening at school, and what was going on with friends and what was going on with kids that weren't her friends. And just how can I teach her a real conversation? Lord, how can I teach her how to communicate where she stands effectively, and let her know that it's okay to take that stance because this is what you believe in, even if other people don't. And so there had been so much prayer and confession over my kids, and there's still so much prayer and confession over my kids. But one of the biggest things is you are a person, and I don't care if you're 4 years old. If you have something to say to me, I'm going to listen to it. Why? Because I value what you're saying, and you are important. And if we don't instill that early enough, they take to the streets, so to speak, and they're going to look for these things from friends and other people that they don't need to get them from.
Definitely. And and some of those children are very rebellious, and they come up with things, and as I said earlier, I taught my children that anybody who will talk you against your parents is not good for you. Absolutely. Because they're not feeding you, they're not clothing you.
Right.
They're not pouring into you. They're not the ones who you should look to for help. They're not the ones who gonna pray for you. They're the ones who gonna get you in trouble, and they're gonna be standing
and then leave you.
And leave you hanging. Dad, you gonna be the one. Oh, they did it. I didn't. I mean, I know because I was that child.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. And I know too. One of the biggest things for me too is the way that I've heard some parents speak to their kids is I in this day and age, I don't know why I'm still shocked and surprised by things, but I really still am. And I know that one of the places I've been at for forever since I've had children is my job is never to speak down to my kids or to break their spirit.
Right.
And that really became something that I really truly didn't understand until after I rededicated my life to Christ and really, began to seek God in how to take my role as a parent to the next level. because I didn't just want to be a parent. I wanted to um, be a role model and be